All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive cultural and economic shift that's happening right under our noses. We're diving deep into the data to uncover exactly why young Americans are just giving up on corporate jobs. You've probably seen the headlines floating around, right? But today, we're looking past the noise at the actual structural reasons driving what we're calling the great corporate exit.
24-year-olds are quitting six-figure jobs. I really want to let that sink in for a second. We aren't just talking about people leaving entry-level minimum wage positions. We're talking about incredibly lucrative roles that, honestly, previous generations would have fought tooth and nail to secure. And the biggest misconception out there, that they're doing this because they're just lazy. But as you'll see, the data tells a completely different story.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer nature of this exodus. Not getting fired, not laid off, they're walking away. This kind of bold action, it's rapidly becoming the new normal. We're literally witnessing a voluntary, deliberate migration away from the traditional workforce. So you gotta ask yourself, why is an entire demographic willingly walking away from the very thing society told them to chase their entire lives?
Let's look at the corporate dream versus today.
Just a few years ago, landing a corporate job was the ultimate dream. It was this rock-solid promise of a good salary, stability, and career growth. But today, thousands of young professionals are looking at this daily grind and deciding it simply isn't worth it. I mean, picture this. Step 1, you wake up at 7 a.m. Step 2, you rush through gridlock traffic so you're already stressed before you even sit down at your desk. Step 3, you sit in pointless meetings all day long that absolutely 100% could have been an email. Now multiply that soul-crushing fatigue by 5 days a week for years on end, and you get a reality that young workers are actively rejecting.
Okay, let's dive into this next part. Layer 1, the burnout epidemic.
See, young employees aren't actually afraid of hard work, they're just entirely burnt out on pointless work. It's a phenomenon known as quitting lifestyles. Basically, this means leaving behind the constant pressure and the expectation of always being on for a paycheck that just doesn't match the stress level. The crucial point here is that they aren't just handing in a resignation letter for a 9-to-5. No, they are fundamentally rejecting an entire unsustainable lifestyle. I mean, answering Slack messages at 9 p.m.? For what? When the financial reward doesn't even come close to offsetting the mental and physical toll, the lifestyle itself becomes the problem.
Which brings us to layer 2, the death of loyalty.
Look, if the work is exhausting, there at least used to be a safety net of trust to make it all worthwhile, right? But look at how that's fundamentally broken down over the years. This brilliantly illustrates the broken social contract. Over on the left, we have the promise: work hard, stay loyal, and get rewarded. That was the unwritten rule for decades. But then, on the right, we see the reality. Mass layoffs done over a 5-minute Zoom call, sudden budget cuts, and incredibly dedicated employees just replaced overnight. Gen Z has looked at this broken system and understandably asked, why on earth should we be loyal to companies that view us as completely expendable? That mutual trust, it's completely gone.
Moving right along to layer 3, the digital escape route.
Back in the day, if you were a disgruntled worker, you basically just had to put your head down and deal with it. But today, the internet offers entirely new, genuinely viable pull factors. For the first time ever, people can clearly see other viable ways to make a living. We're talking about freelancing, content creation, building online businesses, and, of course, the massive rise of AI tools like ChatGPT. You literally no longer need to sit in a corporate skyscraper to generate a 6-figure income. AI tools alone are allowing single individuals to do the work of entire departments. The escape route isn't a pipe dream anymore. It's right there on their laptops.
And that naturally leads into layer 4, a shift in priorities. Once people get a taste of the absolute freedom these new paths offer, going back to a rigid corporate structure becomes almost impossible. So, what do young people actually want instead of just endlessly chasing a paycheck? It's simple: flexibility, total control over their time, and meaningful work. They want to be able to hit the gym at 10 a.m., spend real time with their family, and build projects they actually care about. They are enthusiastically choosing the uncertainty of the digital frontier over feeling suffocated and stuck in a cubicle.
But let's do a quick reality check.
Let's be real for a second. Quitting your job isn't some magic overnight solution. There is profound nuance here, and we can't just boil this whole thing down to corporate bad, freedom good. Take a look at this comparison, because it perfectly captures the real trade-offs involved. Corporate life is stable, yes, but it can leave you feeling incredibly stuck. On the flip side, the freelancing creator route is undeniably free, but it is highly unstable and fiercely competitive. When you work for yourself, you have to constantly hunt for your paycheck. You have to figure out the whole shebang, your own quarterly taxes, your health insurance, your marketing. Actually, most people do not succeed right out of the gate. It's a very real, very difficult trade-off that people have to weigh carefully.
Finally, let's take a look at the new paradigm.
To summarize everything we've uncovered in this explainer, this mass corporate exit is definitely not about laziness. It is a profound structural shift in priorities where work is no longer the absolute center of a person's life. Is this really the life I want? I want you to just pause and let the gravity of that fundamental, life-altering question sink in for a moment. For perhaps the first time on this kind of massive scale, an entire generation is pausing the treadmill, stepping off, and genuinely asking if the conventional path actually leads to a happy life.
So I want to turn this over to you guys now. Would you quit your 9-to-5 if you had another viable option? If you had a stable way to make an income online today, would you walk away from the corporate world? I'd love to know your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's get a lively conversation going. And hey, if you enjoy this explainer and want to keep decoding the modern world with us, make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.